Hello, Life Outside podcast listeners and viewers. It's Dani, and I have another story for you. This one is called Virtual Road Trip Van Lifestyle. I've been having trouble keeping time. I've been swayed by every enchanting thing I've seen. I've spent the past 4 months in nature, but I haven't covered an impressive amount of ground. I'm sure there are whispers of how I've wasted this time, how I've hardly done anything. I could have seen so much more, been to so many more places. So, for a few days, I tried this. I still went slower than most would go, but I upped the pace a bit. A compromise, if you will. A meeting between the way you want to travel and the way I like to live when I am on the road for an extended amount of time. Because there is a difference in a road trip and in living on the road. Come along with me. Hop into the passenger seat, and together we'll go for a ride. We'll take a trip, and we'll do a bit of slow and deliberate living along the way. Being on the road for a long time takes care. Personally, if I were going from place to place and not taking time to really be still, I wouldn't want to live on the road. I need some stasis, some time for habits and ritual, time to write, and time to just be. Because for me, the road is home, and when I'm in an actual home, I need the same things in my everyday life. I need to take things slow, to get to know a place. It's a part of what makes me feel more connected and creative. I also must warn you that this trip will be done van life style. No reservations, no campgrounds until the last night. Just places that we park, places that we pass some time, places where we definitely do not camp. I need reliable service, so when we arrive at Highway 1 from Highway 20, we're going to spend a couple of days in and near Fort Bragg. It is a good place to resupply, walk beaches and oceanside cliffs, and eat fish and chips. We'll camp in the Jackson Demonstration State Forest for 2 nights, both nights at different spots. It's fine, and I didn't feel unsafe when I stayed, although there aren't many options and the road noise from Highway 20 is at times jarring. Alternatives include camping at McCarricker State Park Campground or Cleone Campground, which is a privately run campground, both splendid in their own ways and worth the $35 if you can get a reservation and possibly not have a problem with the 3-night minimum. The best rule of thumb when planning a trip on the California coast with the intention of camping on the coast is planning ahead and being aware of the costs. But you're on the coast. I'm sure that many people spend overnights in their cars in Fort Bragg or just beyond. Just make sure that you're not parked illegally or on private property, and be respectful. After recording your podcast or passing some time in Fort Bragg, we'll head north and stop when we can to walk the beaches. There are quite a few pull-offs. Most say no camping or overnight parking allowed. Others don't. I don't know why, but I am normally deterred by a sign. So we'll spend the next 3 nights parked on the side of Highway 1 in pull-offs overlooking the Pacific Ocean that don't have signs. The views will be epic. We won't be alone. There's never certainty in spending a night on the side of the road, especially overlooking the Pacific Ocean on Highway 1. The same can be said for staying a night at a campground, but there is also the added security of the intrepid campground hosts. They all possess superpowers and can save the day on any occasion. That's a fact. Our first night at the coast, we won't get far from Fort Bragg. There are some pull-offs between McCarricker State Park and Westport Union Landing State Beach, as well as a privately run campground. All wonderful places to camp. Our budget and hashtag van lifestyle means we'll be opting for something a little less lavish. No picnic table, no fire pit, no guarantee. The next day, we might not get very far. We can walk the path to the lookout that is part of the Mendocino Coast trail system before we arrive at our destination, another pull-off, but this one also secretly houses some sort of marine and oceanside paradise. Leading off from the overlook, there's a trail down to Brule Point. Much of the coastline here is part of a marine reserve. It is also everything that a person could want in a beach, except perhaps miles of sandy expanse. We'll walk the bluffs, take the rugged paths to the coves and the rocks, peer into the tide pools. Maybe we'll see a surfer. We'll eat lunch, watch the sunset, and then stay the night. We won't be alone, but we should be fine. The next morning, we will make it to Westport Union Landing State Beach, about 5 miles to the north, to use the restroom and throw away a bit of garbage. On the way there's a beach, and we will be backtracking to it to spend the day. After visiting the Westport Whale, we'll go to the store for things to make sandwiches. When we first arrive at Blue Woods Beach, there might be a couple in a camper truck making breakfast on a fold-out table. They and the other van parked nearby definitely had heeded the no camping or overnight parking sign and hadn't stayed there. I'm sure that the 3 trucks parked on the small beach, one with a tent adjacent in the sand, also definitely didn't camp there. The day spent at the beach will likely be perfect. Hopefully, the weather will be warm, the water mild, and the wind minimal. I'll spend the day there walking the beach, writing and eating sandwiches and drinking white wine. It's up to you how you'll pass the day, but a full day at the beach should be taken when offered. At sunset, a surfer might arrive, and as we watch the sun dip away, can you see a silhouette flying on the waves? These are the types of California coast experiences you will have as well. But each day is different. There are no guarantees, but chances are at some point we'll see somebody get their vehicle stuck in the sand at this beach. We won't stay here. We'll go back about a mile and stay at the same place that we did last night. Tonight, we won't be alone again, but the cast of characters will likely be different. In the morning, don't be surprised if a few locals drive through to honk or play music loudly for a bit on their way to work. Even though there are no rules for no camping at this spot, I have a suspicion that they don't love it. That is understandable, and if we don't feel comfortable here, I have never had a problem getting a spot 5 miles north at Westport Union Landing State Beach, which is first come, first serve, $35 a night, pit toilets, and garbage included. Regardless, it doesn't matter for now, because we're leaving the beach for a bit to drive inland to the Redwoods. We can spend the morning at Westport Union Landing State Beach first. The cliffs are eroding and much of the beach is off limits due to dangerous falls from above, but it is a stunning place and one of the perfect examples of why the Mendocino Coast is so phenomenal. Also, it's really hard to leave the beach. Also, that means we can time a stop at the Peg House, which is run by some really cool people and has good food. Next, we'll tuck into the Redwood Highway and stop where we want to, wander the trails, and take in the splendor of the Redwoods. We could spend days here, but not without securing camping beforehand, which we haven't, so we'll have to push on to find a place to stay for the night. But I have an idea. If it works, we'll have an epic night at the beach on the Lost Coast. If it doesn't, well, I've never seen what that option looks like, so hopefully we won't either. We're going to literally park on the side of the road, Matole Road. There are several spots to pull off, and the beach below is wild and mainly private. It is one of those places that you don't camp at, but you definitely stay to see the sunset and sunrise, and to frolic like a mermaid, of course. The next day, we'll be leaving the coast again, this time to meander through Prairie Creek Redwoods State Park and Newton B. Drury Scenic Parkway. There are trails, spots to tuck into redwood groves, an enchanting walk through a forest of ferns, and even a few beaches. If there are spots available, the Tall Trees Trail is also worth a visit. If not, Lady Bird Johnson Grove is also pretty cool. After a day among the ancients, we're going to take the Coast Drive, a part of the Redwoods National Park. It is a one-way drive that skirts along the cliffs of the ocean. At the end, if we are lucky, there are a couple of places to park. Really just on the side of the road once again, but the road is quiet at night, and when I've stayed there, I've only been in the company of sea lions, birds, and epic sunsets, complete with misty vistas drifting back along the Klamath River and into the tall trees above. We could stay here for the whole day, I'm sure, with the beach at our feet, miles of trails just above us, and wildlife to view, but we need to get going because, well, I'm sure that there's a reason. So once we're ready to leave, we'll drive north to Brookings, Oregon, stop at First Rise Baking Co. for a sandwich. They make delicious bagels in-house, and then to Harris Beach State Park to play in the sand and to ogle the rock structures. Tonight, we'll be returning to a favorite of everyone at A Life Outside, Cape Blanco State Park, where reservations are now recommended, if not required. If we can't get a spot, Humbug Mountain State Park is a good alternative with a fun and Oregon's only mountain peak hike that intersects the Oregon Coast Trail, Humbug Mountain. Both state parks are priced at under $30 each night, and Oregon state parks have fantastic, well-kept, free hot showers, garbage, flush toilets, and water. Both campgrounds are also coast-adjacent, which is the most important part for our last night and our last sunset before we say goodbye. Thank you for joining me on this trip. I hope that you had fun, weren't too nervous about sleeping in parking spots along the side of the road, and had a taste of #VanLife that leaves you wanting more. Thank you for watching and listening. And that's my story. I'll see you next time, or outside.